I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence, then let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, how to stay on the go. I came to play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me, then I double up again under their nose. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George.
What's going on? SAMOKFIT for SAMOKFIT. Checking with you guys because you're doing terrific. We are back with another video. So in today's video, we are going to be covering a lot of topics. The first topic I would like to cover, if you follow me on Instagram, you already know that I am on the cut right now. Started about a week ago, and I'll roll the current physique update. Obviously, this is taken after I've gotten a decent sized pump, and yeah, we're doing a cut. And I know when I posted on Instagram, a lot of people kind of lost their shit, like, hey, why are you cutting? I thought you're done competing. Because I'm done competing doesn't mean I cannot cut, bulk, maintain. You know, I want to defluff a little bit, so I'm hoping to bring that series for you guys to enjoy. In case you're trying to cut too, I know someone's around the corner. I'm not really cutting because someone's around the corner. I'm cutting because it's needed. A little background, I haven't cut since the last time I stepped on stage, which was 2019. So I've been bulking. I started mini cut at the beginning of the year, and now I'm finishing a bulk, so it's only right that I jump into a cut right now. So I'm doing that, and I'll bring you guys along on that nice little journey. Hopefully you guys can enjoy that. And while I go through this video, I also want to cover like a few topics that I think a lot of people tend to lose when it comes to like cutting, or a lot of mistakes that I think a lot of people tend to make while going through a cut. So yeah, now we're taking through my training. So let's talk training real quick. Training right now for me is going to be a resensitization block. And resensitization block is a block where you know, the volume is low, you're still training hard, but the amount of volume that you run in is not usually as high as what you normally have. For instance, I would let you know what my block has been in the last few, months now. So first 6 weeks was like just a hypertrophic volume or block. Second, another hypertrophic volume. The second block, all those blocks are in 6 weeks, by the way. And the third block is, I just went through just now. It's an intensity block, meaning a lot of intensity techniques like myo reps, giant sets that I showed you guys in previous videos. And now, because you accumulate so much fatigue and there is no really anywhere to go in your program, it's advised or it's imperative that you run a resensitization block. Lower the volume a little bit. Let your body sort of recover. Let your body get resensitized again. So when you go back to running a new block, you can have like almost like a fresh perspective or a fresh place to start from. So that is the point of this whole block, and that's why I'm pairing that at the beginning of my cut too. No, I know a lot of people tend to like, oh, but when you start to cut, you should be training hard. I'm like, you do it right. You shouldn't be training hard. My calories is relatively at a decent amount of spot. Right now, my calories is 320 grams of carbs, 60 grams of fat, and 280 grams of protein. You guys know how high I like my protein, so those are my macros right now. And that's my training, and that's what we are doing currently. Let's get to training. First movement that you guys just saw, incline bench press. I'm gonna be doing 2 sets of these. Let's go.
I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now they ain't go harder than me, they need a blade in a sheath, a shank in a piece, a crate full of heat, an army, a fleet, a tank in a jeep, a navy at sea, where they some.
I guess I should cover my the warm-up that you guys saw. So lately I've been doing jump rope, just because it raises your heart rate. Obviously the goal of a warm-up really is one, to stay warm, and it kind of warms my body up before I get to training. So something I've been enjoying doing. I think because I'm gonna cut, it will be something that I'm adding into my routine as like an easy cardio, just because you can grab a jump rope, go outside, get a couple of jump ropes in, and you should be good. Which leads me to number one mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to cutting. There's a misconception there that you need to do cardiovascular exercise, aka cardio, treadmill, whatever, Stairmaster, bikini chicks. I know you guys love your Stairmaster. Nothing wrong with it, don't get me wrong. But there's a notion out there that you need cardio to lose fat. No, you do not. If you track your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, you should be good to go. What I typically tend to tell most of my clients is first, let's try and track steps. And if we cannot accomplish the steps, then we can use a traditional method of cardio. And typically I like to schedule 10,000 to start with. And if you want to calculate that in terms of steps, an average human takes about 2.1 steps. And 2.1 walks about 2.1 feet. And take about 2,000 steps, about a mile. For you to accomplish 10,000, you're taking about 5 miles. So if you want to go run that, good luck. But you know, that's equivalent of doing like a 5-mile run a day. But in terms of that, you're taking steps. Or just staying active, moving around. If you normally sit around while you take a call, get up, pace around the house. Those usually are the good ways to, you know, expend some energy, not just thinking about the, traditional cardio. There are some times where, steps are just not going to be there. So you have to actually do, an actual cardiovascular exercise. Then there's nothing wrong with that. But don't be so tied to thinking you need to do a specific cardiovascular exercise to lose fat. You do not need to do that.
Marine, an ace up their sleeve, a team of Marines, a freak on a leash, a beast with an appetite, razor for teeth, and still they would lay at my feet. Boy, you got the wrong one.
All right, so another point I want to make in terms of fat loss is a lot of people have this notion that when you go through fat loss, like train hard, go balls to the wall. There's something wrong with that, but obviously everything has to be done in a very strategic manner. And I think a lot of people lose the sight that being in a deficit alone is already a stress on your body, and then you're trying to add additional stress by just beating your body straight to the ground, especially a lot of people that are trying to compete, not just trying to lose a couple of pounds just to look good for the beach body. But if you're interested in stepping on stage, you might have to prioritize training and nutrition, obviously, adequately to manage your stress. That is the goal of the total fat loss process, manage your stress. And I think a lot of people just forget that going to a deficit is already inducing a lot of stress response from your body that your body's trying to navigate through. So when you compile rigorous training on top of that and it's not managed properly, that can definitely stall or blunt your fat loss. So like for instance, prioritize your training, periodize it properly, take accountability, track data. You feel when you're just like, okay, for instance, I'll use a client, for instance, Nathan is stepping on stage in about 6 weeks. So the way we program his training right now is deload will fall on peak week, because that's when you want to manage the stress. You want to reduce the amount of stress that you're going to incur during that time. But leading up to that time, we train up to a decent amount of volume. Then a week or two when we're pulling back, just to minimize or limit the stress leading up into the show. So that's something you need to think about, and not just going to the gym, just go balls to the wall, wreck your body, and then you wonder what's going on, why you're not losing weight, why you're not getting tighter. Something to consider. Prioritize training properly. When you think you're getting beat up into the ground and the weight is not moving, look at all your variables. Training is a stress. Okay, maybe you need to run the maintenance volume a little bit. And I think again, the misconception with maintenance volume is a lot of people think, oh yeah, I'm just quote unquote, it's like a deload. It's not a deload. You still train hard. It's a shorter week, obviously, from like normal 6 week. We come bringing that down into 4 weeks. We're still training hard. Like for instance, the incline movement that I did, only 2 sets. A lot of my workouts throughout this block are gonna be like 2 sets. Again, compared to my normal 4 to 5 sets, I'm just breaking that down, spreading that volume all across the board. So whatever volume that you're taking from the previous training, just cut that in half. But you're still training hard. And you actually might see a little bit of strength gain in there too, because again, the fatigue is not really there. You can actually push a lot harder, but just the volume is not drastically, with a decent amount lower than what you normally would do. So training priorities matters during the fat loss phase. So a great point that I want to mention is data. I still don't get how people train without tracking the volume, or during the fat loss phase, you don't want to track as meticulous as possible when it comes to fat loss or food. Data tracking is very important. Tracking your calories, tracking your training volume, tracking your daily weigh-in, because the more data you have, the easier it is for you to manipulate anything instead of just throwing a dart in the wall and hope something works. So that's my point of view that I typically share with our clients that are very hesitant to track. The more data you track, the better. If you can track sleep, good, track sleep. If you can track your body fat, it'd be like every 4 weeks or so, but not to the point where you like so invested, like that is your North Star. That's what controls everything that you're doing. Then that might become a problem. But you just want to make sure whatever you're doing, you're tracking it. Because again, it is your friend, not your enemy. It might not be showing what you want to see, but it's telling you the truth. Most of the time it'll tell you the truth. And you just got to use that as another variable, but not the sole reason why you should make a certain adjustment. And the good point to that is, if you're tracking your daily weight, for instance, and your weight is not budging or moving the way you want to move, then you got to consider other variables. Like I mentioned earlier, stress. Stress not just from training, physiological stress, mental stress, that can affect your body while going through a fat loss phase too. So that, I put an Instagram poll. I always talk about Instagram poll on my video. And let's keep it going. Put an Instagram poll out there. What's the most important part during the fat loss phase? A lot of people say strength training, important, like I mentioned. But the most important part, I think most overlooked a lot of times, is stress management. And unfortunately, life doesn't operate that way. Life is stressful. You just got to make sure you know what that stress is, or you can highlight what that stress is, so you know, okay, if your weight's not budging, well, I do have this issue going on right now that's stressing me out, so this might be the reason why. So knowing that, try to manage it a little bit better, not overthink things, control, you can control your variables. In life, this is my life, it might be a life lesson here on the YouTube channel. The way I go about life is, I put everything going on in 2 buckets, right? Especially when it comes to like stress. The things I can control or solve goes in my controllable box, and things I cannot control goes into the uncontrollable box. And once it goes into that box, on the uncontrollable box, it's out the window. Like I don't worry about it because there's nothing I can do to fix it except cause me more stress. So a little life lesson for you guys out there that are listening to this. So that's my tip for fat loss.
Gotta look over all of my publishing statements for Q1 as soon as the song's done. I gotta call up my mama and tell her I made it as soon as my log's done. I gotta read all my trade publications and sip my tea till it is all done. I think it's all fun. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche.
Right, so those are my quick tips for you guys when it comes to fat loss. Again, I want to keep this nice and short for you guys. And again, I think those are the key points without stretching this too long. If you keep those few tips that I mentioned, you are bound to have a successful fat loss. Of course, when you don't know what to do, seeking advice from somebody that knows what they're doing, not because they look shredded, but just because they are reputable and they have the knowledge to help you out. So yeah, that's going to be the conclusion of the video. Again, this is my week 1 of training, so it might not seem so strenuous or so quote-unquote train hard. It's week 1. I'm not going to go balls to the wall on week 1. But obviously, as we go further into the program, I'll bring you guys along in the training. And the next few videos is going to be very, very awesome. It's going to be cool. The next video I'm doing is going to be a day in the life of a coach, because I have one of my clients competing next week, and it just happens to be local here. And I will kind of just walking you guys through a day in the life of a coach and an athlete, and kind of just like show you guys what his mentality is and how I coach clients on the show day. And following that, now I'll be training with the homie Kevin Jordan, and that should be fun. I'll put a picture of Kevin Jordan here, IVV Pro, so that should be fun. SAMOKFIT, checking out with you guys. You guys are doing well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
5 and a horse, I'm ready for war. I'm coming for throats to turn to a ghost. I need to know everything. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war. I'm coming for throats to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything.